Clearly, I miss you.
I have 1,000 questions for you.
Go for it. Shocker.
2 subjects.
Okay. The president has been very clear, and they were very clear. I will note, just to be very, very clear here, we have been very clear that judicial nominees is a priority for this president. That's something clearly that we want to move forward on. So that is something that we have said. Those are clearly priorities. The American people were very, very clear on what they wanted to see. He was very clear. You saw the readout. We have been very clear about, right? We've been very clear that, and so that's what we're going to continue to do. And we're going to be very clear and loud about that. And so we've been very clear on that. We've been very clear on it's important that folks stand on the right side of history on this. But again, the president has been very clear and be very clear. The president has been very clear. Look, here's the thing that I want to be really clear about. He has been very, very clear about that. The president has always been very clear. This is something that the American people spoke very loud and clear, and they said it very loud and clear. But I've been very clear. I don't have any a clear readout on what was actually asked or talked about. I want to be very clear. It's still, this is still in process. We know, one thing very clearly. Go ahead.
Real fast, Karine, just real quick on Twitter, because you guys said you're keeping a close eye on Elon Musk's ownership, and it's the first time we've talked to you since you released the files a few days ago. Is it the White House view that decisions at Twitter were made appropriately in terms of decisions to censor this reporting ahead of the election?
You mischaracterized actually what I actually said and took it out of context when you asked your question. So look, this is something that we're certainly keeping an eye on. Look, when I answered the question, and I actually already addressed this about how the White House and the administration is seeing what's happening on Twitter. We follow also what's going on, just like you guys are reporting it, just like you guys are seeing. And what I was commenting to is like, yes, we're seeing what is happening, just like you all are seeing what's happening with Twitter. So just want to clear that up because you definitely mischaracterized what I said or put it out of context. So look, this is something that we're certainly keeping an eye on. And look, we have always been very clear. And so can you ask your question again?
Yes, my question was that you had said, I think 6 or so days ago, that the White House was watching closely the situation at Twitter after Elon Musk's ownership of it with respect to misinformation. And because these files were released on the basis of, hack materials clause at Twitter, decisions were made to censor reporting leading up to the election. My question was, is it the White House view that these decisions were made appropriately in light of what has come out?
Which decisions? By whom?
By Twitter.
By Twitter on, okay. So look, we see this as an interesting or a coincidence, if I may, that he would so haphazardly, Twitter would so haphazardly push this distraction. That is a full of old news, if you think about it. And at the same time, Twitter is facing very real and very serious questions about the rising volume of anger, hate, and anti-Semitism on their platform, and how they're letting it happen. And, the president said last week, more leaders need to speak out and reject this. And it's very alarming and very dangerous. But our focus right now is helping the American families. I just talked about what the president is going to be doing in Arizona, talking about the CHIPS and Science Act, talking about how we're bringing manufacturing jobs back here to the U.S., talking about under this administration, more than 700,000 jobs have been created, in manufacturing jobs to be more specific. Look, what is happening, it's frankly, it's not healthy. It won't do anything to help a single American improve their lives. And so, look, this isn't. We see this as an interesting, coincidence, and it's a distraction.
The Twitter files have released that the company typically required an official or law enforcement finding that materials were hacked in order to exercise their company policy to restrict certain stories or reporting. And the journalist who released the material noted that in this case, around the Hunter Biden laptop story, there was no official or law enforcement finding that appeared in the material that he was given. So my question to you is, did anyone from the Biden team communicate to Twitter that this material was from or this reporting stemmed from hacked materials?
Are you talking about the campaign?
It would have been the campaign or anyone around the family. Just wondering because in the Twitter files release and what Matt Taibbi said, he noted that typically the company would require a law enforcement or official finding that something was hacked in order to exercise their hacked materials clause, and that he didn't see that in what had been given to him. So wondering if it was communicated even informally by someone around the president or the president's family or the campaign that this was hacked material or could have come from hacked material, given that there was so much concern, especially after the 2018 foreign interference situation, that could be something that we would see in that election. So I'm wondering if there was that communication there surrounding the Hunter Biden laptop story.
So I can't speak to decisions made by the campaign from here. That is not. It is a political campaign, so I can't speak from here. I'm covered by the Hatch Act, and so I'm just not going to comment on the question that you're asking me. But what I can say more broadly is, of course, it's up to these companies to make their own decision about the content on their platforms and to ensure content follows their own standards and policies. But I'm just not going to comment on a decision that was made during the campaign. Okay.